You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Homestead-Miami Speedway, the Way She Goes Racing League is ready to turn up the heat in South Florida. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the eSports Broadcasting Network. Angelo Zuski has now 7 wins on the season and looks to make tonight number 8. Of course, Angelo Zuski here leading the field basically in the lead all season long. So, folks, make sure that we're tuning in tonight on ESBN here on YouTube.com. I'm Dave Regal, and I will be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the eSports Broadcasting Network. And welcome into the broadcast booth here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, as you know, we're getting ready for some exciting racing here in the Way She Goes Racing League. You'll have to forgive me as I'm getting the camera set up. Let's make this just slightly better, or 1% less worse, as they would say on the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz here in South Beach. Glad to have everybody with us tonight. That's better. As right now, atop the pile in qualifying, looks like Natalie Cunningham leading the pack so far. Kevin Kitzman sitting out here in P2 in qualifying. And now Angelo Zuski, your points leader, hopping up there to P1. So everything's still shuffling around. Just 9 drivers tonight in the field. So we shouldn't see too much bumping and banging, as there's going to be plenty of real estate available out there for what's going on. So as we look right now at Angelo Zuski, looks like he's driving the number 11 Coca-Cola Toyota Camry tonight. Of course, he has driven a number of different paint schemes this season. The Camry, however, is his absolute standalone vehicle. Joshua Backer driving the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, a throwback almost to that Rainbow Warrior paint scheme, just as Jeff Gordon was transitioning there to those DuPont Flames. Backer now P3. Billy Keffer in the Whiskey River number 22 Chevrolet Camaro. That double deuce getting all hooked up here as he is finishing his second lap here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll watch him come through turns 3 and 4. And looks like so far he has already landed himself P3. Natalie Cunningham now coming out to start her qualifying effort as Billy Keffer just got all kinds of loose coming out of turn 4. And that's something I'm sure that we're going to see repeatedly tonight. Robert Hissong in the number 29 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet getting his first lap in as Natalie Cunningham in her traditional number 18 Toyota Camry in the style of everything Kyle Busch, as she is now just about finishing her first lap. Let's see where she lands. And looks like her first lap netted her P5. Robert Devers now getting ready to roll out as he is in the pit waiting, but not logging a lap yet. Robert Hissong back here, as I just said, in the number 29, laying his lap down. Michael Cunningham in the 44 has finished his effort and has netted himself P8. And looks like we will have a total of 10 cars tonight if William Britton takes the field. Robert Hissong wrapping up his qualifying here in the number 29, netting that pole position. And if things go the way that they're supposed to for him tonight, sitting there in P1, we should see him being able to set sail. Natalie Cunningham dropping down to 6th position with Hissong taking the pole, and just Robert Devers and William Britton left to qualify, as we only have about 30 seconds left before we're underway. We're going to take a look here at your race conditions. And, you know, one of the things that we see all the time here in South Florida is nothing but humidity. But right now, just 57%, 77 degrees, as we are going to have a night race tonight. So that track will be plenty gripped up. One of the things that we're going to have to keep an eye on is that transition from turn 4 back to the front stretch on this 1.5-mile speedway in the swamps. I shouldn't say swamps, but it's certainly not the Everglades here in South Florida. Going to take a look at our starting grid. As previously mentioned, just 10 cars more than likely going to be taking the field. Right now, we see here, looks like we're going to have a total of 9 cars, as Robert Hissong going to be on the inside of row 1 in the pole position, with Angelo Zuski on the outside of row number 1. Row number 2 going to be made up with Joshua Backer and Mike Corvo in the number 7 Toyota Camry. Mike Corvo, I believe to be the brother of Cliff Corvo, of course, of Sim Racing Media fame. Row number 3 made up of Joshua Backer and Michael Cunningham, Billy Keffer. Joshua Backer and Billy Keffer. Michael Cunningham and Kevin Kitzman going to make up row number 4, and row number 5 going to be Robert Devers and William Britton starting shotgun on the field, as William Britton is taking the field in the number 64 Ford Mustang, as he is going to get caught up to the field. So, like I said a moment ago, a limited field tonight, but that should keep the racing nice and clean. Of course, I don't want to, put that broadcaster's curse on anybody, but hopefully that should keep things nice and organized, as we do see that iRacing.com pace car having its lights out, as we're going to be getting ready to go green flag racing here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, just a little south of the city of Miami. We're going to see that iRacing.com pace car dive down pit road. Robert Hissong with his finger on the button. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Reach way up there, and we are green flag racing here in the Way She Goes Racing League on YouTube.com and the eSports Broadcasting Network. Robert Hissong takes off like a shot out of a cannon, as he is going to lead Angelo Zuski and Joshua Backer through turns 1 and 2 and down the back stretch here. We can see Hissong with just a 0.3 of a second lead now over Olszewski, and Olszewski looking to close in the best that he can. And right now, these cars side by side in the first 2 rows, and then we get a little single file here, as Hissong going to lead the first lap here at Homestead-Miami. Will bring up, of course, our famous ticker atop the screen, the proud craftsmanship of Mr. Frank Marchese here at Sim Racing Media, as he does all of our overlays for our leagues here, like the Way She Goes Racing League. Robert Hissong now out to a solid 0.3 of a second lead, trying to keep an eye on what else is going on in the field. And things pretty calm so far with just 3 laps of 90 in, as Natalie Cunningham running herself here in 6th position, just ahead of William Britton, who started shotgun on the field and has now worked his way up to 7th position now. And it looks like, whoa, Robert Devers getting loose, coming out of 2 onto the backstretch. Michael Cunningham, who earlier this season had netted himself a top 5 and a podium finish, running right now 10th and last in the field. But Michael, definitely one of those drivers who is able to keep things, nice and calm. I mean, so many times in these races we see drivers getting real rammy real early, but with 4 laps in, I know Michael's the kind of driver where if he sits there and he keeps the nose of this number 44 Eggo Waffle Ford Mustang clean, we're going to see him toward the end of this race. And these drivers have to keep an eye on the apron, as a racetrack like this, once those left tires get anywhere near that white line, things get real unsettled real fast. And quite frankly, I think it's great that these drivers are able to communicate that back and forth to one another. And folks, if you are tuning in on YouTube.com, welcome in. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to the eSports Broadcasting Network so you can be notified every time we are live here. And Bluegill 37, glad to have Bluegill in with us, cheering on Angelo Zuski and William Britton. You're absolutely welcome. Glad to see you tonight. And yes, a correction, we do have a total of 10 now, as William Britton now working the inside of Natalie Cunningham, and they are side by side back here. Why iRacing once we have 3 wide here, as the 9 of Robert Devers splits the 93 and the 18 right in half, as Natalie wisely dives out of the way to stay out of the line of fire, so to speak. Next close battle that we have going on right now is the 22, right in the middle of Joshua Backer and Mike Corvo, and I'm sure we're going to see some fireworks there later as things start to heat up. Right now, the 24 of Joshua Backer working his way around Angelo Zuski, who, one of the things that I feel like we need to tip our cap to about Olszewski is that he is an absolutely genius when it comes to tire saving. We're going to see Olszewski be able to stretch these tires all the way to the end of this tank of fuel, as he is so skilled in making sure that he can take care of his equipment. Sorry, Robert, I didn't realize that you had skipped your qualifying, but so 10 drivers out on the field tonight. Good evening, Lizette. Glad to have you with us. I had given a shout-out to Lizette last week in our opening monologue, but of course, last week turned into a complete disaster as I had been called away to an emergency at work for my real-life job, for my day job. But anyway, needless to say, glad to see my my little family of Way She Goes Racing League fans here on YouTube.com. And if you are new, welcome in, as this is a great group of people to be around, especially out here on the racetrack, as these drivers are always out here, you know, encouraging one another. You don't hear a whole lot of screaming on the race radio, as I'm always scanning that in my headset. And, you know, these drivers are encouraging one another. They truly are great sports people. And athletes, you know, eSports athletes, that is, before somebody gets their dander up over, is this really a sport? Yes, it's a sport. It's an endurance sport. Robert Hissong leads the pack here in the Way She Goes Racing League, week number 21 at Homestead-Miami. Robert Hissong with now a 7/10 of a second lead over Joshua Backer, and a full 1.02, now one even second over Andrew Olszewski. But you best trust and believe that Olszewski not going to be hanging back here in third for very long, as it looks like he is closing in on Joshua Backer as they come out of the turn 3-4 complex. Olszewski gets to the inside of Backer right here as we go through the front stretch. Olszewski gets down and dirty against that low groove here, and there's not a whole lot of grip there in the low side of the racetrack, as Olszewski able to hold it together as they transition onto the backstretch. What a pass that Olszewski is working on making here. This is racing at its finest, as they are side by side going into turn 3. And as they roll through turn 4, it looks like Olszewski going to have the advantage. But does he have the run? Yes, he does. And now it appears that Backer was going to look there on the inside, but chooses wisely to get behind Andrew Olszewski, who really is not just the Pied Piper of the 7 racetracks he has won at so far this season. He is the Pied Piper of the Way She Goes Racing League, as, you know, he leads our point standings with, you know, and get this, folks. Andrew Olszewski is leading the point standings right now with 689 points. And then Robert Hissong behind him with 615. And I mean, basically, after that, everybody's in the 500, you know, then Tony Edwards and Robert Devers in the 500s, and then a bunch of people in the 4s. And after that, there's a bunch of drivers that aren't even here on track anymore or part of the league anymore. So, you know, Andrew Olszewski and Robert Hissong, really the two drivers going at it, hammer and tongs in the standings, as things have tightened up between those two drivers. And, you know, Hissong here, and we'll take a look. The pride of Westland, Michigan, in the number 29 Chevrolet Camaro, out here leading the field now with 0.8 of a second over Andrew Olszewski. So interestingly enough, Joshua Backer, having just been behind Hissong about 0.3 of a second, basically has kind of put a parachute on that car. Of course, Backer here in the 24 Jeff Gordon throwback paint scheme. Definitely not running as well as he was, but interestingly enough, Olszewski running just about the same distance behind Hissong that he was when he was running in third. So really, he hasn't changed position, as he's only gained about a quarter second on Robert Hissong, the pride of Rockford, Illinois here, as we did just see him make an incredible pass over Joshua Backer. So I'm sure that the rest of the night here, we're going to be seeing some great moves from Andrew Olszewski as things develop. William Britton getting ready to look to the inside of Mike Corriveau. Corriveau trying to hold him off, and it looks like Corriveau not going to give up easy, as he is in that, let's just say lane 1.5. It's not lane 2 and it's not lane 1, but it's definitely lane 1.5-ish, where there just seems to be a little bit more grip, and we can see that Corvo trying to match Britton step for step and really just taking away the groove that Britton wants to be in, as William Britton now up 4 positions running in P6 here in his Ford Mustang. And folks, I kind of got to look at this. What in the world is this sponsor? I'm not trying to be rude. This is Dragons Only Organics. With an incredible paint scheme like this, sometimes it's just hard when you have that many colors. It's just a very busy paint scheme. So that's an exciting paint scheme, I got to be completely honest, in the number 64 Ford Mustang. Mike Corvo, of course, here, the brother of Cliff Corvo of SRM fame, running right now in P5. Billy Keffer in the Whiskey River Double Deuce Chevrolet, running in 4th. Joshua Backer in 3rd. Angelo Zuski in 2nd. And Robert Hissong, your race leader. The rest of the field filled up with Robert Devers in the number 9 Chevrolet. Michael Cunningham, and as I just told you a moment ago, we were going to see him start to come back up through the field as he in the double 4 Ford Mustang holding off soon-to-be brother-in-law Kevin Kitzman, as Kevin Kitzman is engaged to Michael's sister Natalie, and Natalie right now shotgun on the field running in 10th position. So tonight, realistically, everybody gets a top 10 finish minimum. Now it's a question of whether or not you can make it into the top 5. And while we think about that, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on ESBN.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the Left Coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
And welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. Technically, welcome back to the ESBN studios here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. Robert Hissong, your race leader here in the Way She Goes Racing League event at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We are in week number 21 already, folks. And after these 21 weeks, a couple of hiccups, along the way, Robert Hissong and Angelo Zuski really have this league locked down as far as those season standings go. And Joshua Backer, a relative newcomer, as he came along mid-season, moving up through the field. Billy Keffer running in 4th, and Mike Corvo running in 5th. That's your top 5. So, a lot of good racing that we've seen so far this evening, and I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more of that as we're moving through this evening. And, one of the things that we continually talk about here for the Way She Goes Racing League is just how good these drivers are. I mean, remember, this is a fixed setup league, so everybody has the same chassis. Everybody has the same tire pressures, spring sheddings, ride height. The only thing that these drivers can do is change their offset, and change their steering offset. That's how far the steering wheel is left or right, which is a comfort thing. Then their then their steering ratio. So basically, how much turn do they have for every time they touch that, and their brake bias. And, so those three things really are just creature comforts in any kind of race car. So these drivers, this is all about skill. So we can see here, as far as skill goes, that Hissong and Olszewski obviously have the number of the nearest skill shop instead of setup shop here in the Way She Goes Racing League. And speaking of which, Robert Hissong, his lead now cut in half, with Olszewski now just 0.3 of a second behind him. So 27 laps in of 90 here at Homestead-Miami. And, this track here in Homestead, Florida, has had several configurations and has had several different series of racing, including NASCAR, the IndyCar Series, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship Series, and, of course, Championship Cup Series. There's just so many different configurations here. So, for starters, they've got the Speedway, which, of course, we are on tonight, and then, wow, that was very close. Then there's a modified road course and a road course. And the modified road course is kind of what we would refer to as a roval, as it does include a portion here of the traditional oval that we're used to seeing in NASCAR, along with a road section. And let's see if we can bring that up for you here at all. Unfortunately, this graphic does not show anything but the oval for this configuration, but make sure you can go onto Wikipedia. You can check out the configurations that are used here at Homestead-Miami. And quite frankly, just a lot of different things that they can do with this racetrack. Now, keep in mind that there are several track records for the NASCAR series that come here. Of course, all three series, this used to be where championship weekend was held at the end of the season, but since then it's moved out to Phoenix, which is great. I mean, it's still warm considering championship weekend is in November. Now, in Cup Series, which is what we're racing right now, the last generation of Cup car, the qualifying record was set by Brad Keselowski in 2014 with a time of 29.795 with an average speed of 181.238 miles per hour. Now, the race record was set by Jeff Gordon in 2012 with a time of 2 hours, 51 minutes with an average speed of 142.245 miles per hour. And Angelo Olszewski and William Britton in for pit service right now, as we're going to take a look here and see looks like Olszewski going to come in and get 4 tires here on lap number 31 of 90. William Britton also getting 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast there, Sunoco race fuel, as they drop that left side down. Olszewski's going to take off, as is William Britton, and both these drivers going back out on track. So the first 2 drivers in the field to come down and get service on pit road are going to be Olszewski and William Britton. Next driver in going to be Robert Devers here in the number 9 Coca-Cola Chevrolet. And you know what? I got to say, there are several paint schemes that stick to me over the years, and the Coca-Cola paints that you see are always really great in my opinion. And of course, one of my favorites is the M&M paint scheme. Of course, M&M Mars, one of the most popular candy brands in the world, and quite an interesting story there behind the M&M itself. And it sounds like there's going to be a black flag issued. Not sure who it's going to be for, but we'll find out momentarily. Robert Devers coming off of pit road. Billy Keffer and Mike Corvo coming in for service as Natalie Cunningham rolls off pit road. Looks like Corvo getting 4 tires and Keffer getting 4 tires. So everybody's got 4 Mr. Feelgoods and a tank of Go Fast here as Robert Hissong, Kevin Kitzman, and Michael Cunningham, the only 3 drivers not to have come in so far. William Britton, the driver with the black flag, as he is going to come in, and it looks like it's going to be about a 26-second hold. Hopefully he remembered to turn off his fast repair and everything else. That way he can just come in, serve that penalty, and get back out on the track. Joshua Backer in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet is rolling off a pit road now as he is running in 5th position yet, and just Cunningham, Kitzman, and Hissong having yet to pit yet. Robert Devers, however, just getting it all wrong here on lap number 35. We're going to take a look here and see exactly what might have happened. And it looks like Devers in the 9 on those cold tires. We're going to take another look. And maybe we'll be able to slow it down a little. As it looks like Devers running through the turn just simply gets loose right behind Kitzman. And as he gets by Kitzman, it's like Kitzman just took the air right off of that rear, and it just sends Devers fishtailing down the backstretch and right into that outside wall. So fortunately, they do come to this track with a fast repair in hand, so looks like Robert Devers is going to have to get that fast repair handled as soon as he possibly can. Of course, this caution came out at just the right time for Hissong, Kitzman, and Cunningham, as these 3 drivers able to come down pit road. And they will now have a few fewer laps. Geez, that's an interesting wording. Just a few fewer laps on these tires compared to everybody else. Of course, Angelo Zuski having come in on lap number 30, Natalie Cunningham on 31. But Michael Cunningham, Kevin Kitzman, and Robert Kissong all coming down pit road, getting that service. Bluegill 37, I see you there in the YouTube.com live chat. Where in PA were you born? As you now are saying that you live in Michigan. So if you don't mind my asking, where in PA are you from? Waiting for everybody to get figured out here. We're going to check out here on our race administrator page what's going on. You'll have to forgive the crazy camera here, but looking right now for exactly where stand by, everybody. I'm trying to get you all fixed up here. Right now, trying to find that iRacing.com pace car, try to help these drivers out here. Just trying to get things shuffled out here as these drivers need their wave arounds, as Billy Keffer should still get a wave around in the double deuce, I believe. There we go. Now we're getting everything squared away here, as the iRacing.com pace car lights have come back on. That should allow everybody just enough time to get sorted out. Like Billy Keffer still showing up as one lap down. That should fix itself here in just a moment. Robert Devers should be, looks like Billy Keffer going to be waved around one more time, it appears. As we're just about at the halfway mark here. You'll have to forgive us as we're just trying to sort through everything. Looks like that should bring everybody back around just so. Still trying to sort things out as the iRacing.com pace car has turned its lights off. And for some reason, Robert Hissong being waved around. So after all of that, looks like we're interested. Everything should be back to normal now, as it looks like your new race leader going to be Billy Keffer, with Robert Hissong going to be P2. P3, Joshua Backer. P4, Natalie Cunningham in the number 18 Toyota Camry. Michael Cunningham, her brother, in the double 4. William Britton in the 64 in 6th. Mike Corvo in 7th, and Robert Devers in 8th. Angelo Zuski in 9th, and Kevin Kitzman in 10th. So for some reason, Angelo Zuski being scored as a lap down. There we go. Angelo Zuski being waved around as he should be. The 9 of Robert Devers. I believe Kevin Kitzman should also be waved around. Oh, Kevin Kitzman spinning it around as he was trying to get his lap back as he was just waved around. All right, Kevin, get it cranked back up there and get around Michael. Get up on that racing surface. And this time by, everybody should be back the way, at least kind of the way that they're supposed to be, as Kevin Kitzman should be. Looks like Kitzman not coming around to get his lap back. So we'll be going green flag racing here as the decision has been made and the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. After our first and only caution of the night, the green flag waves and Robert Hissong brings the field back down the front stretch. And we are back underway here at Miami, at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Robert Hissong, Mike Corvo, Joshua Backer, Billy Keffer, and Angelo Zuski round out your top five. You'll have to forgive some of the confusion out there, folks. I mean, things can get a little shushlik, if you will. Shushlik being, well, it's kind of a Pennsylvania Dutch term for sloppy, especially when things with iRacing, when iRacing timing and scoring decides to have a hiccup, it's usually not at a fun time. So Bluegill 37. Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of Arnold Palmer, Fred Rogers, and Rolling Rock. Rolling Rock. Let's talk about Rolling Rock. So Rolling Rock beer comes in, it traditionally comes in an 8-ounce pony bottle, which was actually, and if you do want to try a good beer, that's, you know, I'm going to say your grandfather's beer. To me, it's an Archie Bunker kind of beer. It's just something that you have, you know, when you come through the door at the end of a long day, a nice cold Rolling Rock beer. Regardless, Rolling Rock beer traditionally comes in an 8-ounce pony bottle. And oddly enough, the idea is not to sell less beer, but the drinker then, or the consumer of the beer, doesn't have a warm beer as you sometimes do at the end of a 12-ounce bottle of beer or can in many cases. Also, fun fact about the neck of a bottle of beer. Does anybody out there know why the long neck is kind of a niche-y little thing? I'll give you the answer. The idea of the neck of a bottle is that's where you're supposed to hold the bottle. That way, the warmth from your hand doesn't make the beer in the bottle warm as you're drinking it. So, a little bit of beer trivia. Of course, Fred Rogers, also from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where Bluegill 37 is from. Fred Rogers, of course, spent decades there in, well, your neighborhood. Fred, of course, everybody's neighbor and amazing human being. Some great human beings coming out of Latrobe. You know, Fred Rogers has taught us so many different things over the decades that we've known him. And, of course, now there's a spin-off series, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which, of course, my little boy loves. And I got to be honest with you, folks, Latrobe definitely has a special place in many people's hearts for that reason alone. Of course, also in Western Pennsylvania, home of Coach Mike Ditka, if you're a fan of those 85 Chicago Bears. Ditka from out there, the pride of Aliquippa High School, Western PA. And also out in that neck of the woods, Dan Marino. So some interesting human beings coming from Western Pennsylvania. But tonight we are focused on Homestead-Miami. Homestead, of course, a suburb of Miami. Miami being the home of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz, recorded almost every day of the week. As, don't look now, but it looks like Angelo Zuski and Billy Keffer going side by side here down the backstretch, as we've got a battle for fourth position right now. Olszewski working his way around Keffer. And now Keffer doing the old do-si-do, looks to the inside of Olszewski, but loses that draft behind Olszewski, so he loses that momentum as they go down the backstretch here into the turn 3. And it looks like they're going to go single file as Keffer going to have to find another way. I'm sorry, that was turns 1 and 2. Keffer going to have to find another way around Olszewski. Quite frankly, I'm not trying to tell him what to do, but if I was him, I would get in line and stop trying to beat him on my own. You know, keep in mind, these cars are all set up the same, so drafting going to be king tonight here in Homestead-Miami, and we can see that right as Angelo Zuski drafting up behind Mike Corvo. Corvo holding on to P3 right now, and, you know, quite frankly, we know that Angelo Zuski, one of those drivers that's more than capable of drafting up and making those passes. Not very often that we see Olszewski buried back in the pack, but tonight seems to be one of those nights as he is running in P4 right now. William Britton in the number 64, your biggest mover of the night, up 4 spots, running in 6th position as he had started shotgun on the field back in 10th. Speaking of 10th, running in 10th right now is Kevin Kitzman, who would be your lucky dog as he is the only driver a lap down at this point. As we attempted to get him his lap back, and he decided not to take it. Michael Cunningham in the number 44, Eggo Waffle Blue Oval Ford Mustang, running in 9th position. 8th position, Natalie Cunningham in the M&M's Toyota Camry. And, M&M's have always been a big thing in NASCAR. I mean, to me, when I was a kid, I had a friend whose mom absolutely loved the 38 M&M's car. And stand by for 1 second, folks. Sorry about that, folks. Got a call from the front office here at Sim Racing Media, and when the boss man calls, you always want to make sure that you answer that one. Anyway, the 38 car. I'm sorry, the 36 car made famous by Kenny Schrader back in the late 90s, early 2000s. My one friend's mom absolutely loves M&M's, loved the Kenny Schrader car, and everything in Mama Kay's house was decked out with M&M's. And, M&M's themselves, as we get back to Natalie, M&M's themselves were kind of a weird thing that had come out of World War I, basically, as these people, these soldiers during the war, they needed some type of sugar to keep them energized, so on and so forth. And, basically, Forrest Mars, the son of the Mars Company founder, Frank Mars, had copied the idea for the candy during the 30s, which, of course, he had brought then to production in Newark, New Jersey. And, of course, it was M&M Limited, Frank and Forrest Mars. So anyway, long story short, these candies were designed to be able to go in a soldier's jacket or something to that effect, so that, it was chocolate with a candy coating. And for some reason, they described that as a candy coating on the chocolate, or in this case, it looks like on the front of Natalie's car tonight. We'll take a look. Looks like she's got those crunchy M&Ms going on right now. You can see her sitting there focused, absolutely dialed into that race car. But the crunchy M&Ms here, that's either crunchy or peanut butter. But regardless, looks like Natalie is totally focused in, as we can see the fierceness in her eyes as she comes down the backstretch in that pink fire suit that she so often wears here in the Way She Goes Racing League. Meanwhile, there's a lot of historic paint schemes tonight. Of course, the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet, made famous by Mr. Jeff Gordon, Hall of Famer, and now all kind of a bigwig over there at Hendrick Motorsports. DuPont, of course, based out of Delaware, just a little south of where I am here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. And originally DuPont was into explosives and somehow came into painting, and basically had been bought and absorbed by General Motors, which, of course, there's no surprise there. Chevrolet, General Motors, all of a sudden, now they've got a paint company so that they can paint those cars even cheaper for the everyman here in America. And, Jeff Gordon bringing DuPont to the forefront in the 90s. Then we take a look here at the number 11 Coca-Cola Toyota Camry, driven by Andrew Olszewski. And, quite frankly, if someone's going to say I have an addiction, I do, and it is to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, oddly enough, developed by an addict. I'm not going to say a Coke addict per se, but Dr. John Pemberton, who had originally, basically, J.S. Pemberton down in Atlanta in 1888 had sold Coca-Cola to Asa Griggs Candler, but beforehand was working for a long time on a formula for a cola, and he had called it a health tonic. And I got to be honest, you know, if I've got an upset stomach, I drink a Coke. If I feel a little indigestion, I drink a Coke. If I'm feeling down and, you know, just need a pick-me-up, I drink a Coke. You know, so Coca-Cola, obviously a favorite beverage of many Americans, and quite frankly, I love the look of this car that Andrew's got out here on track tonight, the number 11 Toyota Camry, with that Coca-Cola look. It just pops with that. See that? Soda pop. Anyway, by the way, I am from Eastern Pennsylvania. That is soda. That is not pop. That is soda. But anyway, taking a look there. And then, of course, the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet, driven by Robert Hissong, running in third right now. Robert Hissong second in your points. The Double Deuce Whiskey River Chevrolet, driven by Billy Keffer, running in fourth right now. William Britton, and we had talked about this paint scheme earlier, and I have already, it was kind of a complicated name, so let me see if I can't. There we go. I will get this right. Oregon's Only Organics. So quite a paint scheme that we see here, and we're going to take a look at this from a couple different angles, as this is just a really eclectic group of basically a collection of art. An eclectic collection. Can I say that? I'm not even sure. On William Britton's car, Mike Corvo driving the number 7 Toyota Camry. Mike here in the 22q.org Foundation car. Check out 22q.org, and we are going to do that just now. The 22Q 11.2 Foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to supporting the needs of families and individuals affected by chromosome differences by promoting awareness, state-of-the-art clinical care, cutting-edge research endeavors, and solidarity with related associations around the globe. So obviously, the 22Q Foundation, very important to Mike Corvo, the pride of Sturbridge, Massachusetts. So Mike, we support you and what you support. Looks like we are starting wholesale pit stops. And Angelo Zuski, Robert Hissong, Billy Keffer, and Kits, and Angelo Zuski, Robert Hissong, and Billy Keffer have now come in, followed by Joshua Backer and William Britton here on pit road right now. William Britton getting that Oregon-only Organics Ford Mustang fueled up and some fresh tires, as we just have 20 laps to go here at Homestead-Miami. Robert Devers bringing the number 9 Coca-Cola Chevrolet down pit road. We're going to see what's going on with this. It's just a different flavor of cola. Artist Marshmallows limited edition flavor. And we are under caution, as it looks like William Britton has had himself a little problem here. We're going to take a look. William Britton comes off of pit road and just gets loose, and oh my. Now, fortunately, this is a self-spin, so we shouldn't have too much of a problem. Oh! 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 My God! Natalie Cunningham just annihilated William Britton. We're going to take another look at that. As we see Britton with the tires locked, he's sitting here parked, not trying to move anywhere. And Natalie Cunningham just comes through and blasts through him. My gosh. We're going to take a look at that from Natalie's perspective. This is something I almost never get to see, at least in that particular context. We see Natalie coming down through the front stretch. She gears down and just doesn't get over far enough to avoid him. So with 17 to go, it looks like Natalie's down on pit road. Not sure if she's got her fast repair left, but you would think she should by this stage in the race and with nothing going on.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
"15 laps to go here at Homestead-Miami Speedway in beautiful South Florida. Angelo Zuski, your points leader and your race leader. Surprise, 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 as Gomer Pyle would say, sits atop the pile. With Joshua Backer on the outside of row 1. Row 2 going to be Robert Hissong and Robert Devers. Mike Corvo and Michael Cunningham in 5th and 6th. And Billy Keffer, your last car in the lead lap in the Double Deuce Whiskey River Chevrolet, rounding out the top 7 all on the lead lap. Kevin Kitzman and William Britton each a lap. Kevin Kitzman 1 lap down, William Britton down 3. Natalie Cunningham sitting on pit road getting some repair. With 15 to go, we see the iRacing.com pace car having its lights out. And it appears that Natalie Cunningham did use her fast repair already, so she is going to be down on pit road for quite a while. But right now, we have this flag waving in the flag stand, and we are back underway. Green flag racing as Angelo Zuski commands the field into turn 1. Olszewski, Hissong, Backer, Corvo, Devers, your top 5. Everybody nice and tight here with 13 to go at Homestead-Miami here in the Way She Goes Racing League. Folks, if you are just joining us on YouTube.com, welcome in. Make sure that you're subscribing and turning on those bell notifications. And Lizette, I didn't know that was a watermelon and strawberries flavor of Coca-Cola. Now, me personally, I'm 33 years old and only just had my first cherry Coke. And to be quite honest, it was an eye-opening experience. It was I felt like it was a come-to-Jesus kind of moment. I had never, ever had a cherry Coke before, and I didn't know if that was even allowed. Regardless, though, I will definitely have to be checking out the special Coca-Cola flavor. So thanks for the info, as always, Lizette, as she does watch. Folks, if you're out there watching, Lizette is here every week with us, and she is absolutely incredible. She's sitting here supporting her boyfriend, Angelo Olszewski, the pride of Rockford, Illinois, your points leader. So, if anything can be said, she must be Andrew's good luck charm, as she is here every week with him. So maybe if you're an iRacer yourself, get a girlfriend or a wife to sit there by your side, maybe rub your shoulders while things are getting a little tense, or even better, in those caution laps, I would definitely be getting, like a shoulder massage. Like, hey, listen, my arms are getting a little tired from getting around this racetrack, so I could use a little relaxation. But speaking of relaxing, we're not going to be doing that anytime soon with 10 to go here, as Olszewski, Hissong, and Back are going to be battling it out here for the podium positions. Belly Keffer in the Double Deuce Whiskey River Chevrolet, your last driver on the lead lap, out here just 1.1 seconds behind Angelo Olszewski. So still not too far off, as things have, I'm going to say, kind of settled out here. As we really haven't had that many cautions tonight. Of course, I probably just jinxed it. I'm sorry. You can send your hate mail to the Conshohocken studios of ESBN and Sim Racing Media anytime you want. But, quite frankly, this league that we're seeing here tonight is one of the friendliest leagues on the iRacing servers. These drivers are out here week in and week out encouraging one another. And even when we have, hiccups like we had during our very first caution of the night, the drivers didn't get upset. They weren't screaming at each other. In fact, I'm not sure who it was, but I had heard them on race radio saying, hey, listen, I don't care where it puts me as long as I'm on the lead lap, because I know that I can drive up there through the field. I mean, that is confidence, but at the same time, the rest of the field knows that is absolute gospel truth. That there are drivers like Angelo Olszewski, like Robert Hissong, like Robert Devers, that can absolutely drive through the field like a boss. And speaking of bosses, Mike Corvo running in 4th position right now, where he started, but chasing down Angelo Olszewski ever so gently with 7 to go now. It looks like Corvo just 1.5 seconds behind Olszewski. Six to go now, and I was just checking there in the YouTube live chat. Looks like Lizette kind of lets Andrew do his thing while racing. I mean, don't get it twisted, folks. iRacing is not just driving around in imaginary cars on imaginary tracks. These are laser scanned high-tech tracks that have basically been recreated in digital form. And, ooh, don't look now, but Joshua Backer looking to the inside of Robert Hissong. Robert Hissong almost backing off to allow Backer to get around him, and Backer shoots right up in front of Hissong. And now Hissong has Mike Corvo sniffing his rear bumper with 4 laps to go. I'm not sure if Hissong is having some kind of a mechanical problem, but Hissong, having come in on lap number 69, does not have as new a set of tires as Corvo and Backer do. But that can't be good for Angelo Olszewski, who also came in on lap 69 along with Robert Hissong. They're the only two drivers to have gotten pit service in the 60s lap range. Olszewski only has a 0.98 second lead over Backer, and if Backer and Corvo can keep themselves together here, they can easily draft up to the rear of Olszewski and give him a run for his money. Two laps to go here as it looks like Angelo Olszewski going to run away with this one yet again in the Way She Goes Racing League with a 0.95 second lead over Joshua Backer and Mike Corvo. Right now, they are probably the tightest competition we have on the racetrack. Between them and, oh, don't look now, but Corvo looking to the inside of Joshua Backer. Backer trying to hold him off as Corvo does have three fewer laps on those tires as he makes the run into turn one. He gets to the inside of Joshua Backer. Backer trying to hold that high line. And a near Code Brown here on the last lap. The white flag is in the air. Angelo Olszewski, your race leader. But Mike Corvo trying to take that second step on the podium, runs around Joshua Backer in the 24. He gets off the throttle and forces Backer to check up behind him. Now Backer trying to get the run here on the front stretch, but does not have enough steam. And Angelo Olszewski, your race winner, ahead of Mike Corvo, Joshua Backer, Robert Hissong, Billy Keffer, Robert Devers, Michael Cunningham. Oh, in the number 44. Oh, gee, that's quite a way to end your race. Kevin Kitzman, William Britton, and Natalie Cunningham. Angelo Olszewski, your race winner, and looking to see if anybody on the podium going to hop into the interview room, and maybe we can hear from our race winner. Angelo Olszewski, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, man, listen, win number 8 on the season. 8's my favorite number, of course, made famous by Troy Kenneth Aikman, the pride of Henrietta, Oklahoma. But tonight, the story is all about the pride of Rockford, Illinois. There in the number 11 Coca-Cola Toyota Camry, you got it into victory lane once again. Man, you just have these cars figured out, don't you?
Yeah, I honestly didn't have too much or as much practice on this track as I liked to have before a race, but yeah, the cars they luckily react pretty similar depending on the track. So once you kind of get it dialed in, you just got to race, and after all, it's kind of all it really comes down to. Things are gonna go right and wrong during a race, like the caution in the middle that we don't talk about. But yeah, after all, it's just racing. Whatever car it is, it's really all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me personally, I for some reason there's a lot of drivers that I hear absolutely despise Homestead, but me personally, I enjoy this racetrack. I've had a lot of success in trucks and ARCA here for some reason. Quite frankly, this is not a bad track. Obviously, you were able to keep it as far away from that paint, which is right behind your rear bumper right now. That's quite a slippery slope if you get near it.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely kissed the wall a couple of times too. So don't get me wrong, we was pushing pretty hard. But yeah, if the race went on for a little bit longer, like longer run, I mean, before that first caution came out, I was kind of hoping the top would come in. I was kind of trying out early just to see what happened. It was a little bit slower, but I was hoping as the tires wore, it might be able to come in. But yeah, either way, it's a lot of fun. You could pass pretty easily if you got a good run. So yeah, I mean, obviously I won, but I definitely enjoy racing here too.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen. Here's the other thing that I was talking about toward the end of the race. Your girl Lizette is there every week for you. I mean, she's always active. She keeps things interesting in the YouTube.com live chat. Gives me something to look forward to because sometimes you're in the live chat and nobody's talking and nobody's there. But tonight she gave us a little look behind the curtain. Tell us about the. I think it was her, right? Oh man, geez, I don't want to be speaking out of turn. Here it comes. Hold on. Yeah, the watermelon strawberry Coca Cola. How was that?
Yeah, that's funny. It was really good actually. I mean, honestly, it just tasted like a strawberry watermelon drink with maybe a little bit of Coke, but it was just like a soda, strawberry watermelon. But yeah, overall pretty good. Maybe I should roll with that scheme next week, go with the all white. I don't know if you've seen the can, but it looks pretty sick.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. The paint scheme that you're running tonight just it pops. I mean, to me, it looks exactly the way that a Coke can should if it's on the sheet metal of a race car. So, dude, the car looks great. Everything else looks great. And before we cut you loose, anybody that you want to tip your cap to here tonight?
Yeah, of course, I'll give my shout out to Lizette. You know, like you said, she's always showing up in the chat and supporting me. It's always good to have one of those. Also, my dad, I don't know if he was in there. I didn't really let him know about this one tonight, but he's a huge Coke fan. We just had his birthday party last week, and it was definitely Coke themed for sure. His birthday is this next Monday, so early happy birthday to him.
Absolutely. So, a happy birthday to your dad. And listen, great racing tonight, as always, from you. I mean, when it comes to class, you definitely keep the class very high here in the Way She Goes Racing League in Victory Lane.
Yeah, thank you. I try to. Obviously, I don't want to. I mean, I'm gonna race as hard as I can every week, no matter how many wins I have. Each race, I kind of just take as its own and hope to get in victory lane.
All right, man. Well, listen, have a good night and enjoy that win. Give us a little bit of smoke before you head out.
All right.
That was your race winner, Andrew Ozuski. And right now, going to be pulling in your second place finisher here, Mike Corvo.
When?
Mike Corvo, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, listen, great finish tonight in the Way She Goes Racing League. Here's the thing. I can't. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I've seen you here in the Way She Goes Racing League. Is this one of your earlier races now?
This is race number 2.
Cool, man. Listen, you did great. I mean, all things considered, this is kind of a tough league just because it's a fixed setup. So it's all about driver skill, and obviously, getting ahead of Robert Hissong and just behind Angelo Zuzki. I mean, you're in some good company here in the Way She Goes Racing League.
Yeah, he's fast. I think my pitch strategy. I want to thank Luke for helping me out. He's spotting for me. He gave me a good pitch strategy. We kind of stayed out at the end, get a couple more laps, and we get that lucky caution. And I just needed 10 more laps, and I think probably could have got him.
Yeah, that earlier caution, that first caution there was a complete mess when it came to iRacing timing and scoring. Every time timing and scoring decides to start, getting nauseous, it seems like everybody's just screaming on the radio, but everybody pretty much kept their cool. And I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure if it was Andrew or Robert that I heard on the radio saying, hey, listen, as long as I'm on the lead lap, I don't care. I can just drive through the field.
Yeah, that's I kind of said that the same thing. I said I don't care where I am, just put me back on the track and let's get going. We were wasting laps. We kind of had a strategy at the beginning of this race, and kind of pacing around like that was kind of putting a little damper on it.
Yeah, that'll definitely throw out your tire wear and fuel numbers, especially as you're just putting around, you know. But hey, listen, man, great race tonight. And before we cut you loose, anybody that you'd like to thank for this run tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Nick Biddy for getting me into this league. He's in all my other leagues. He's not here tonight, unfortunately. He's traveling for work. Luke up in the spotting for me tonight, calling the shots. Joe David, another guy I practice with all the time. My cousin Cliff, who got me into this. And just give a shout out to the 22Q organization that sponsors on my car. It's a good organization if everybody wants to look it up, 22q.org, make a donation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 22q.org, we did take a moment there during the broadcast to look up because I had never heard of it before. So everybody, make sure that you go to 22q.org and consider making a donation and supporting that organization any way that you can. So Sturbridge, Massachusetts is proud of Mike Corvo tonight, and I'm sure that your cousin Cliff is as well. I was talking to him earlier today. So, sir, can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, thanks. It was good racing, guys, and thanks for the broadcast. And again, thanks for the guys that put this league on, the guys and girls that put this league on. It's a good league. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. And we are going to cut Mike loose. And I do not see our P3 finisher, Joshua Backer, in the Discord. So, Joshua, if you're still online, maybe try to pop in here real quick. But right now, another race in the books for the Way She Goes Racing League. Things definitely have heated up so far this season. And, although that we had a pretty limited field tonight, this racing was still very good. These drivers kept it together and kept it organized, as these drivers do so often that we see. And there's Joshua Backer in the interview room, and I see that he is muted. Let's see if we can unmute him. Joshua Backer, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight for the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. How was that setup feeling for you, here at Miami, where sometimes, we hear people screaming about, this is kind of a wicked, wild racetrack?
It definitely was there at the end as I was always pushing it, trying to catch Andrew there. It's just the back end kept sliding out on me, and I just killed the tires. So that kind of ended my stretch there.
Yeah, that transition, we were watching you, trying to get around Andrew, and that transition from turn 4 onto the front stretch has a tendency to be absolutely, wicked. Actually, one of the things that the Uris used to do for Dale Jr. was they would move that rear end housing around to try to get it to turn a little bit better here at Homestead. And of course, that's something that we can't do on iRacing, especially in the next gen cars. But dude, you kind of look like Jeff Gordon yourself out there trying to chase down Andrew toward the end of this race.
Yeah, I was giving my all, but there just wasn't enough tire left for me.
Trust me, I get it. And if you ever, not trying to give you too many tips, but Andrew Lozuski is a wizard when it comes to tire saving. And a couple of weeks ago, when I had the opportunity to race with this league myself, I tried to match the Olszewski line, and it was like trying to herd cats. He is just way too fast sometimes. So, but you gave it your all. You gave it a shot, man.
That's all that counts.
Anybody that you'd like to tip your helmet to tonight before we cut you loose?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Natalie and them for running this league and broadcasting it for us and really enjoying it.
All right, man. Well, listen, you go ahead and enjoy that P3 podium finish, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Well, folks, another one in the books here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And, quite frankly, the Way She Goes Racing League, week in and week out, has just done an amazing job of keeping things, fresh and ready. And we're going to take one final look here at the race results, as we should be able to pull that up. There it is on your screen. Andrew Lozuski, your race winner in the number 11 Coca-Cola Toyota Camry, followed by Mike Corvo in the number 7 Toyota Camry, sponsored by 22q.org. Joshua Backer in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet Camaro. followed by Robert Hissong in fourth position. Billy Keffer rounds out your top 5. Then your top 10 is made up of Robert Devers in the number 9 Chevrolet, Michael Cunningham in the Eggo Waffle Double 4 Ford Mustang, Kevin Kitzman in the number 93 Toyota Camry, William Britton in the 64, and Natalie Cunningham rounds out the top 10 and your field in the number 18 M&M's Toyota Camry. So looking forward to next week at Nashville Fairgrounds. Now remember, that's Nashville Fairgrounds, not the Super Speedway, which, again, I've been screaming about it all season, but Nashville Super Speedway, not a super speedway. Anyway, but Nashville Fairgrounds, a cool little short track there in Nashville, Tennessee. So we will see everybody next week on July 27th at 9 p.m. Now, the race will not be broadcast as we are every other week on YouTube.com. So you can check us out. Again, we will be at the Indianapolis Oval on August 3rd. That will be our next broadcast. So for myself and everybody here at the eSports Broadcasting Network, I'm Dave Regal saying thanks for listening to ESBN.